Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Practitioner Spotlight. I have the amazing, wise, incredible Andrea with us, who's going to share about how she's applying somatic and embodiment work to herself, to her clients, the unique work that she's doing in the world, and who she loves serving and how she does her work. Because I really want to highlight all the many different pathways and all the different things that you can do as a somatic practitioner, that it doesn't have to look one way, that you can really find the people you love serving. You can do things in a way that you love and really apply this work in a way that's unique to who you are and how you want to serve the world. So, Andrea, thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and how you got into this work.
Well, um, so I am a licensed professional clinical counselor in California. I specialized in dance movement therapy, and I think right straight up from grad school, I just knew that movement and body is the work that I want to do. So it's been 10 years now. Um, Still going strong, still want to do it.
Yeah. It's incredible. And you were a part of our first cohort of the Healing and Body Practitioner training program. So tell us a little bit about what led you to do that and integrate that into your body of work.
So this is interesting. So I came across Healing Embodied quite serendipitously. It kind of just floated into my reel, my what do you call it, feed. And I'm like, these people, we speak the same language. And I think it was very important because I felt like around me there was not a lot of people who were talking about the work in the same way. So I dove in, and the program has been so clarifying, so validating
Mm.
that, you know, I think we were talking yesterday that I'm feeling a little bit like a professional identity crisis and like, how did I not do this?
Yeah.
Here I am.
Oh, yeah. And it's been so incredible to watch your journey and the process of clarifying like how you want to do this work in the world. Because I think I'm kind of going on a tangent here. When we go to like grad school, we're learning the skills, but we're not necessarily honing in on how do you, Andrea, want to apply this work? What lights you up? What matters to you? What's like your heart and soul? Because there you can learn a set of skills, but to be able to then go, okay, how do I want to do this work in the world? I don't just want to be just a generic somatic practitioner. I want to do my soul's work. And we literally were having this conversation yesterday about your desire and your love of helping people who are deep feelers, who maybe live in an environment or a world where they think that that's a problem. So take us there about what lights you up about that and how the work that you do really helps people who are deep feelers.
Oh, that was just such a whole journey. I think being a clinician, we kind of take on everyone. That's how we start, right? We just take on anyone and everyone, um, and and through that, I mean, that was a great experience, like to get to like actually work in those different presentations. Um, and there's this pervasive thought in the background that says you got to help everyone, you got to help everyone, and so that pressure kind of it to think about like who I want to work with was just such a daunting thing to think about. Like, what do you mean? I just got to help the person that needs help. It was all very confusing. It was, and I just felt stretched and bent in all kinds of ways that I'm. That was really challenging, and so a big part of that journey was really like learning to know who I am. It was very much who am I? How am I built? Can I accept that? That sounds so strange to say that way. Can I accept that? But it's something I don't think about, I think.
Mhm.
So, and one of the big turning points was just kind of like recognizing I am a deeply feeling person. I can say it to my clients like, I'm not afraid of your emotions. I love all of the emotions, but I wouldn't say that to myself.
Mm,
So being able to settle into that and being able to recognize how I do operate, all the little intuitions, the little sensitivities that I chose to ignore because there was this bigger picture of ethics and protocol and all that stuff. I had to return to that. And
mm.
then as soon as I did that, I started to recognize it in my clients. And the ones that lit up are the ones that get it. They're the ones that are like, oh, you hear me, you understand me. And that was just, I just get
I have
chills.
chills too. Having a chill party over here. Thank you for sharing that and reiterating that like oftentimes we go into the profession thinking of like, okay, who am I supposed to be? Okay, well, I'm supposed to be able to help everyone and like I can't really bring in my own sensitivities and my own deep feelings into the room because well, what if that's unethical and what if that's a problem and what if it's a liability for me to have my own deep sensitivities versus learning how to hone that and channel that as one of your superpowers. And I love how you talked about when you finally recognized it for yourself and allowed yourself to accept that and said, wait, no, like this is actually a deep part of who I am. And therefore, if I learn to integrate it, then it's going to positively impact my work. And then something started happening. There was this resonance when like you owned that. There was a resonance with certain clients. Like certain clients, like you said, really were like, you. There was, you said yesterday, this like, we get on the same frequency.
Mhm.
And t tell us about those people that you have been drawn to in your work. What are their challenges when they come into working with you? And how do you how do you help them?
I think the people that I most like resonate with, um, they mostly come in having a lot of judgments about themselves, and they tend to push themselves really really hard to to be a certain way. Um, and as I get to know them, I find that they're actually really really deep feelers, and they have had to abandon that. They have had to separate the part of them that is so full of wisdom, so full of wealth,
Hmm.
to be a more acceptable, a more appropriate being on the outside. Um, so they have this line, and they're as they are very managed in that world, and then they tuck themselves away in their private world. And so like relationally, there's always this tension. Who do I be? Um, who's a safe person? And depending on where they are at, they sometimes don't have that safe person, and this is new to them to like to be able to recognize um, this aspect of them.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
That is, it's so, this work is so important that you're doing because I think overall we live in a world where it's not safe to be a deeply feeling person, that it's not celebrated. And so you're creating this like microcosm, this like revolutionary space for these people where they've learned, like you said, they've had to tuck it away, they've had to abandon it in order to be more acceptable, play these roles, ma feel like they have to constantly manage this problem. So tell me a little bit more about how the movement, the somatic work, helps them to begin to embrace this deep well of sensitivity.
I feel like the experience they get when they start to turn their attention to their soma is a profound. I feel it's profound. I
It
hope
is.
I can put that word on. It's
You
a
can.
profound experience of being present safely. And it's almost like, wow, I have a somatic experience. It's not all in the head. And suddenly there's, I mean, it's not necessarily butterflies and rainbows, but there's like a coming home to kind of a feeling. And then when we give them, when I support them with certain movement structures, just a little bit of movement, but so tuned to what their internal experience is, seems to do a lot for them.
Hmm. So before they're working with you, how? how are they relating to their deep sensitivity when they have these big feelings that emerge in their life? What are they doing before they go through this process? Like what's happening for them?
Usually it just seems like they have a lot of shame around, I'm an adult, why do I have such big emotional reactions? Um, there must be something wrong with me. They think of it as like a behavioral problem. So, so yeah, that part's just like never comes out. Or if it comes out, it's very inconvenient. Or I'm just gonna look away from it forever if I can.
And what does that do for them? This constant like shaming themselves, trying to look away from it. Like what kind of problems does that typically cause, like you said, in their relationships or their life?
Um, so some there is a it sounds like there is a gap between them and their partners.
Mm.
And so they sort of have that boundary of like, you're not allowed to come in. There's always a sense of like not safe, unsafeness when it comes to intimate relationships. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. So it's really impacting their relationships. And you said like, don't come in. Like, don't don't see this part of me. I've got to keep people at arm's length because this thing that happens inside of me is this big problem.
Mhm.
And so it's hard to let people close when you think that when you're shaming yourself for your emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I think it feels like they don't, the way I'm understanding is that the way they make their life choices seem to be around what they really want.
Mm.
So they're unsatisfied with what they do on the outside, even if they are
Mm.
successful and high functioning, they feel like there's something, let's just put that away because it's not going to happen. And that just
Oh,
feels really sad to me.
yeah, so not only sounds like not only did they learn to like tuck away their like big feelings, with that they're tucking away their deeper desires and like, okay, what's successful on the outside versus what's success feel like on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so when you're inviting them into like moving their bodies, what are some of the shifts that start to happen for them?
Some of, I think one of the more subtle shifts that I noticed is just like the ability to be present. You can almost feel like the groundedness landing, the facial, the affect, right?
Mhm.
How they use eye contact in this space. They're before that, they're just constantly looking. You can sense like they're constantly looking for what's the next best thing to do.
Ooh.
How do I function better? How do I manage this better? And give me an answer. No, that doesn't always happen, but it does happen sometimes. Um, for them, when they learn to land in their body and to use it in movement, they aren't afraid of being present anymore. So being able to be a deeply feeling person with the emotions in their eyes and they feel okay with it. And I love that for them.
I love that for them. Your clients are so lucky to have this space with you. I love how you describe that. They go from like looking around for like what do I need to do and be in order to like manage this to like I can actually for the first time feel safe to be present with what I'm feeling instead of like, oh shit, how do I how do I escape this? And so once someone begins to feel safe to be present in their bodies with their emotions and they're moving with their emotions, what are some of the like new things that open up for them? Like, how do they start to relate to their emotions, their big emotions, their uncomfortable emotions? How do they start to relate to those differently?
um, that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's totally okay. And it's part of it. They get to hear themselves, for the first time. That sounds kind of
No,
dramatic.
it's no, it's real.
And the way they sound or the way they express themselves is absolutely fine. And that's just such a feeling of self. I wish I had knew of a different way to say this, but such a present sense of their self themselves.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and you said earlier, like coming home to themselves, maybe for the first time. And for them, it sounds like they're able to experience themselves differently. Instead of I'm a problem, it's like, wait, I'm okay. Wait, what? This is okay?
Yeah.
And you were talking to me yesterday about something that just gave me chills. Is suddenly they go from this is a problem to they're accessing all of this. You use the word complexity. Tell me about that. This thing that they then access when they feel okay to be a deeply feeling person.
When they access the complexity.
Like the just the well of I think you use the word like beauty. Like there's something, it's not only is it safe to feel this, but there's actually something beautiful about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that beauty is very much connected to creativity. Creativity is so much connected to like the sense of self. Um, I think that when they have separated themselves like that for a really long time, I think their identity is a blank wall,
Mm,
almost. And it's something that it's something that they are frustrated with. Um, so being able to, you know, for them to have the experience of like, no, you don't just have to show up as a manager, high functioning person. Look at that. Look at the beauty of how you are on the inside. There is so much going on there. It could go in so many different ways. You're free to create and to take on, just make choices for yourselves and have permission to get into any one of those because there's a lot there and so much treasure there.
wow. So, like, what a huge transformation for someone to come into your space and go, okay, help me fix these big feelings that I have. I have these emotional things and they're a problem. To then finding the treasure and the creativity inside of it, like I'm sure like that is a huge flip for them that they're like, okay, I'm gonna come here and Andrea's gonna help me not have these big feelings anymore. And you're like, just wait. We're gonna unlock your superpowers inside of those things. And I'd love to hear you talk about what you love about how movement and creative movement, you're such a dancer, and I could watch you move and dance forever. How creative movement supports that process.
It's the movement part increases or intensifies the felt sensations. That's the reason why I love dance. Like it just hits so many levels, right? You connect to the body, you feel, you have the felt sensations. Now, what can you do to increase that felt sensation? And what can you do to change that felt sensation? And what do you want to do with it? Just so much fun, so much play in that. And I think the play aspect of tapping into that deep well, that's where it gets really fun. Because now you have this treasure trove of things to literally play with. Find your way. It's not even about performance anymore.
Oh, wow. And to be able to give someone that experience and give someone this whole new world that's opened up for them where they get to now play with their emotions and their feelings versus all the other things that they were doing before. And suddenly I imagine they feel so much, like you said, so much less afraid of being present with their emotions because now they know they have this experiential learning with you that I actually get to move with it. I get to play with it. I have choice. I can amplify it. I can change it. I can shift it. I can turn it into a dance. And I just imagine that just really unlocks something big for people when they get into this treasure trove, this treasure chest, and begin to play with something that once felt scary.
Yeah. Play? Like, what is that?
Huh?
I had a client who gets very triggered with the word play
Hmm.
because that was not something that was allowed for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I think that's especially as adults who have to put on these faces and meet these expectations and put on these roles. It's like play is the last thing that we think is allowed.
Yeah.
And so, how does the play allow them to integrate the deeply feeling part of themselves back into their lives?
Um, I feel like there probably are many different ways to say it, but I feel like one of the most powerful thing is consent.
Mm,
To give themselves choice, to say that I have choice and then pick one or pick many. Do all the things. And
mm,
so that can show up in big ways. I mean, if they're using it as a creative entrepreneur or if they're using it as like how do I do relationships differently? They recognize that they can do all these different things and embody all the different vibes. No, that sounds weird.
I got it. I got it. I'm locked in. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I mean, we are multifaceted human beings. Why do we have to be stuck in one
Mm.
way?
So yeah, I'm hearing that it helps them break out of these rigid roles where they feel like they have no choice but to be that role. So everything else I gotta tuck it away because I have to be this. This is what everyone expects of me. This is what my job requires. This is what people want from me. It feels very rigid. And then you invite them into movement and creativity and play and presence in their bodies. And then suddenly they're like, wait, I actually get to choose and play with like who I get to be and how I get to show up. And that I don't feel trapped inside of this role that I think that this role or this way of being that I think I have to be.
Yeah, the self agency and the self leadership just shows up without needing to like. I think sometimes leadership can be quite a burdensome title or hat to wear. But what if it's a self leadership for you for yourself? You can move
Mm.
expressively, literally, practically, in any direction.
Mm. Wow.
I feel like that for me is a fulfilling way to live my life. So I want that for my client.
Mm. Self-leadership. Instead of leadership being this heavy thing that you put on, you're saying self-leadership is the ability to have all these choices inside of you, and you get to lead yourself and step into whatever expression that you want to step into.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And tell tell us how how you practice. Are you online? Are you in person? Like what does the work look like for you at this moment?
So I have a little private practice in Northern California. I do 50-50 virtual or in person. I mean, obviously, in person's very limited. But yeah, I do virtual as well as in person.
Amazing. And if someone wanted to work with you and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're describing my life and the exact things that I was just saying to myself." If someone wants to get in contact with you, where would they go?
I have a website
Say
that
it loud and proud.
I have a website that is in progress. Yeah, movementbeings.com, movementbeings with an S.com. So you can go to that website or you can, I guess you can email me, Andrea at movementbeings.com. I
Amazing.
think I got that right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I'll put that contact info in the description and in the caption so that people can connect with you um, if they want to reach out and even just, you know, ask you questions. I think that's I'll definitely put that information. And then what would you say to someone who's considering a career path in movement and embodiment and somatics? If they're like, I've really been thinking about this but is this for me? I don't know. Is it worth it to like do something like this training? What would you say to them?
I say it's worth it. Hello, it's your person. It's the, how do you say something that's so very present? Do you know what I mean? It's like this is about your experience of life, this is about your being. It's always worth it.
Hmm.
you go everywhere you are. um, it's definitely worth it. It's yeah, it kind of it gives you you back.
Mm.
So I feel like that's the most important thing, because that's where everything comes from. That's where everything is created from.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah.
And that's been one of my most treasured parts of witnessing your journey is, you said in the beginning that like you felt like in order to play the role of therapist, you had to like tuck away your deep sensitivity and your creativity and to watch you feel safe to bring that forward. And now I really believe that our purpose is an expression of our own journey.
Mhm.
And so to watch you reclaim yourself, all parts of yourself, and now you are helping others with that process in only the way that you could do it because of who you are and your expertise and your passions and your personhood. It's the most incredible thing. And I'm just really like after yesterday's conversation with you, I was like, oh, like it just felt, I was like, of course, like, of course, this is where your purpose is leading you and how you're applying this work and really helping deeply sensitive people who think that they're a problem or that it's a problem to have that in whatever role they play, that you're now helping them reclaim themselves. And it's just, yeah, I love that you spoke to that this journey and doing a training like this is not just about learning the skills and like fitting yourself into a role, but it's actually a self-reclamation.
Yes, I love that word.
Mm,
Not about climbing for the next thing again.
mm, preach. Oh, thank you so much for sharing who you are and letting us see you and celebrate you and the work that you're doing. Are there any final things that you want to share about yourself or the work or anything else you want to say?
You don't know. Work in progress. I think it keeps growing, keeps changing, which means I'm alive. So that's good.
Hmm. Yeah, it gets to be an unfolding evolution.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Andrea. So in awe of you and your creativity and your genius. And for more information about Andrea, again, I'll put the information in the show notes or the comments, and I'll also put more information about our certification program below. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll talk to you very soon, Andrea. And everyone else, I will talk to you next time.
Thanks.